So welcome to the month of June. Okay, we only have, we have less than a week remaining in the semester. And then we will meet again on Thursday of next week for our final culminating morning. But I am giving you a sneak peek, and we are actually starting with our culminating activities today. You'll have a little bit of time today to work on it, and you'll also have, the next couple of days, even though we don't have class, to be able to creatively put some finishing touches on this activity. It's not designed to be seen as a labor-intensive project. It's designed to be a fun and creative way to actually do an emergency preparedness audit, and also at the same time have some fun. So I'm going to basically read through this word for word, because sometimes when people read things for themselves, they gloss over it and they miss parts. Emergency preparedness is not being paranoid. It's about taking the time to manage things that are under your control in order to prepare for things that are not under your control. Some people don't like to talk about emergency preparedness because the thought of disasters or emergencies scares them. This makes it all the more essential to have the conversation, because ignoring an issue does not protect you from it. You will discover that taking the time to do an audit, which is basically a fancy word for checking to see what you have, of your emergency preparedness will actually put you in a positive mindset, because you're being proactive as opposed to reactive. And on a much lighter note, not even talking about emergency preparedness, if I'm going to be preparing a particular meal, I know my wife and I we like making homemade enchiladas, and there's various things that we need. And one of the things that it calls for is black beans. Okay, and black beans are not particularly expensive. But if we are in the process of putting together the chicken and all that, and we're ready to put the enchiladas together, and then I go down to the cold cellar and there's no black beans down there, we have a bit of a mini panic, because it's like, oh, great, now we got to go to the store, we got to try to find one, and it's stressful. It's much better before I start cooking to check to see if I have all of the ingredients. That way I know, aha, it's there. So I don't have to panic when I can't find it. And emergency preparedness is kind of like that. It's preparing for potential emergencies. You don't want them to happen, but if they do happen, you actually know that you are in a good spot. And you'll see any of these hyperlinks embedded into this document. You can click on, and it will send you to Government of Canada websites that provide additional information. Now, in class, we are going to be watching an episode. I actually think it may be the pilot episode of a show called Doomsday Preppers. And that show is very interesting, because I always say to the students, don't watch that show at night before you go to bed, because it's the kind of show that when it talks about things like the end of the world or disasters or all these sorts of things, it can put you into a headspace of panic. It can put you into a headspace of, what if they're right? What if the world is going to end? I'm not ready. And then you can sort of spin out, and that can be that's the exact worst way to approach this conversation. I want to talk about hoarding versus being prepared. Okay. Part of being prepared isn't just for your personal survival. As Christians, we're called to show the love of Jesus to those in need in our community. Remember the Good Samaritan? And if you're not familiar with that parable, it's a story that Jesus tells about a man who comes across a complete stranger that is basically beaten and left for dead. And rather than just saying, well, somebody else will deal with the problem, this man takes it upon himself to get this guy help, even though it actually costs him. Like, it costs him some of his own money to help this guy. It was a sacrifice, but he did it because he saw the need. Emergency preparedness is an excellent way to position yourself to be able to help others. Think about the instructions on an airplane. If the face mask drops, put on your face mask first before you assist others. That might seem really selfish, but what's the lesson there? If you become a casualty, if you pass out, you can't help other people. That's why one of the first rules in first aid is don't become a victim yourself. So I am not telling you that your job as a part of this activity is to get your parents and the rest of your family into a panic and then to rush out to Costco and, you know, buy all of the Lysol wipes and buy all the toilet paper and all of the meat and all of those sorts of actions that you saw people do earlier on in the pandemic. That is not what this is about. What is your task? You can start it today. You will complete an audit of your family's emergency preparedness. This will require you to use the emergency checklist provided by the Government of Canada. Okay, and that is, if you follow the hyperlinks embedded in this, you will get access to that. So I shouldn't get any emails from anybody that says, oh, I couldn't find the information. If you use the information given to you and you click the links or you copy and paste the links, you will have what you need. So the first thing for you to do is actually just rate yourself as far as that checklist is concerned. Level 4 would be, I have all of the basic requirements and many of the additional requirements as outlined in the preparation guide. Level 1 would be, well, I have some, you know, I have a couple cans of soup and maybe a battery, but there's quite a few things in there I don't really know if we have them or not, right? Not knowing is just as bad as not having, because you don't know where the stuff is and you're not actually sure. Level incomplete would be, I didn't even do it. I don't know. I want to be clear with this. Let's say that you have a current level 1 preparation, right? Less than half. It's not very good. That doesn't mean that you fail this activity. Okay, this is just the first step. You do an audit, right? You check to see how is our emergency preparedness. And I would encourage you to include the family in this, right? Again, it can sometimes be a tough conversation, but it's an important one to have. Here, of course, is the link that you can follow. And here's a reposting of an instructional video, also from the Government of Canada. So here's then the next steps. And this is where we build on just the original audit. Once you have completed your audit, it's time to get prepared. You will find a creative way to film a 15 to 30-second video, or you can take pictures or PowerPoint or whatever you like, of your completed emergency preparedness kit. Alternatively, if your kit does not reach level 3 or 4, you can still film a video, but you can outline the steps that you're going to take to get prepared. So like I said before, if you look back on it and you're like, ooh, this isn't very good, there's a lot that we need, you could still get level 4 on this project because you can film the video that outlines, here's what we need to fix and here's the steps that we're going to take, right? It's about that growth. It's about making a plan. And you can upload it to YouTube. You can send me that in the Edsby link. I did say, especially because we're talking about short videos and we're looking at easy editing, I suppose TikTok is something that could be used. Now, I'll also say this, though. I don't have TikTok anymore. I had to get it for a grade 10 challenge thing last year, but I very quickly got rid of it. So don't bother looking for me because I'm not there. I don't mind if you use that because a lot of people are, but you have to be able to share the file outside of the app itself. And I believe you can actually, share it via other sources and web browsers, providing you have a link. You're going to have to do some research on that. Don't just say, oh, follow me on TikTok, because I'm not going to do it because I don't have it. Please note, and I said this before, the current status of your emergency preparedness kit is not what is being evaluated. Okay, this audit is designed to inform and empower you to get prepared. And you might say, why are we doing this now? The summer's coming. I don't want to think about this stuff. What a perfect time to do it. Okay, we know that it looks like the worst of the pandemic is behind us, but that doesn't mean that you don't want to be prepared, right? That'd be the worst thing to do. Be like, oh, good, it's over. By the way, I didn't learn anything. Now I'm not prepared. That is the wrong way to approach it, right? Again, it's not about living in fear. It's not about saying, oh, I wonder when the next bad thing's going to happen. It's knowing that you have the tools that you need should there be some sort of localized emergency. Remember, I'm not talking necessarily about worldwide pandemic. I'm talking about things like, water being shut off in the town because of some infrastructure failure, right? I'm looking at things like During the winter, of course, things like a blizzard or an ice storm, which may prevent you from being access to, fresh water, or the grocery stores are closed for various reasons. So again, there are lots of things that could happen. Hurricanes, tornadoes. Again, it's not about living in fear. It's about being prepared. Now, the closing disclaimer before I post this for you. Since this activity is part of our June activities and take place in the final 2 days in the semester, it is considered part of the final culminating activities. Wow, try to say that 5 times fast. This means it is a perfect way for you to improve your mark in this course without any fear or concern of it damaging your mark. Okay? So hopefully this removes the burden of needing to complete it and turns it into a fun and practical way for you to creatively approach a real world issue. Don't think of this as a project you need to do. Think of it as a fun activity, as a way for you to boost your mark. It's not a bonus, right? We don't give out bonus marks, but it is part of our culminating activity. You have absolutely nothing to lose, so you may as well give it your best shot. The submission deadline is Friday's class. Okay, when you log into class on Friday, I know it's a shorter day because of that schedule, come with it done, right? Submit it. Maybe it's a YouTube link. I'm actually really looking forward to seeing them. And feel free, of course, to have some fun, include some additional survival life hacks or other creative things. If you want to make it a little bit funny, this is a time for us to have some fun, right? So I want it to be about emergency preparedness, but feel free to have some fun and be creative when you do it. I was going to say bonus points if you make me laugh. I already said there's no bonus points. It's not about bonus. It's about you ending the year with a bang and making your best effort. So I'm going to stop the recording.